everyone. This is Ken Susi here at Fishman, and you are watching another partnership series live stream. So basically, we're here today. Again, this series just highlights our relationship with the people that we work with, different companies, different guitar makers, different bass makers, the whole thing. So we just want to highlight our great experience, our great experiences with these companies and vice versa, and just talk about, what's new, what's happening. So I will not be your host today. Mr. Rob Ketch will be taking over. But before I put him on the screen, I'd just like you all to just give you a reminder that we will be broadcasting today on Fishman's Facebook, our Twitch, and our YouTube. And we will be on Spector's account today, also broadcasting on their Facebook. So if you're watching this live right now, we have all those platforms coming right here. And most importantly, we want you to interact. So just like most of you guys are doing right now, first, boom. See, everyone is writing, so don't be shy. Hop in, join the conversation. Real quick, before I announce Rob, head over to www.fishman.com, support our website. You can find any of the products that you may be interested in, whether it be electric, MIDI, or acoustic. We have everything that you need. So now I'd like to introduce Mr. Rob Ketch. Rob, how you doing today?
I'm doing real good, Ken. Thanks very much. How are you?
Living the dream as usual.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, as Ken mentioned, this is our partnership series, and he kind of let the cat out of the bag. We are joined today by Mr. John Stippell, the global brand manager from Spector Guitars. How are you, John?
Hey, Rob. I'm doing fine, man. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thank you very much for joining us. We've got a handful of things to dig into today. Certainly one of the more exciting things is the launch of the new NS Dimensions series basses that are brand new for this year. I thought maybe we would take a quick look at a video with John Hansen playing, hear the basses, see them a little bit, then we can come back and chat about them.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Very cool. That was a video of John Hansen from the bands Gannon and Fear the Masses playing the new Spector NS Dimensions series. John, if you don't mind, these basses look fantastic. There looks like there's a tremendous amount of new things for Spector basses incorporated in these models. If you could take a minute and tell us a little bit about some of the very cool features and some of the new design elements that are in the Dimension series, that we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. This is, as you mentioned, a really exciting product for us, and something that's been hotly debated, I think, in the Spector world for a while. Will we make a multi-scale bass? If we did, what would it look like? And yeah, so behind the scenes, we've been working on these NS Dimension models for a couple of years now. We didn't want to stray too far from our classic formula, obviously with NS shape and neck through design. But where we did want to have a little fun and explore is with the type of woods that we're going to use and some of the construction that goes into this. So I actually have one right here.
Oh, great.
Show you what this looks like. So as you can see, that's our famous NS fully curved body design, which is kind of a trademark of our brand. So as we dive in a little deeper, we're using a 5-piece neck on this, which is something that we don't typically do, and that's maple and wenge. We also have a wenge fingerboard, which is something we've never done. That's also got the lumen lay side markers, which are super cool. So when the lights go out, when you do get back on stage, you will be able to see where you're at. Because it is a multi-scale instrument, we've got a different bridge than we would typically use. We're using this is made by Hipshot. This is a 5 inline saddle steer letter. Not a typical bridge that we would use. And of course, we've got this really cool looking poplar burl top, and we borrowed a couple finishes from here at our custom shop for these models. So this is the haunted moss finish, which comes in a matte finish, and we also have a super faded black model, which is a gloss finish. And yeah, so that's basically it. So it is a familiar bass for sure. If you've ever played a Spector, if you own a few Spectors, it's going to feel the same. It's going to have the same comfortable curves. It's going to sit in your lap very much the same way that a Spector would. But then when you dive in, you start getting a little bit closer. You're going to notice some really cool differences. We're really proud of what we were able to come up with here. So
looks fantastic. As you mentioned, there are 4 and 5 string models available, and
yep.
If I'm not mistaken, that one you were showing is the haunted moss matte.
Right. Yeah. Finish. Yep.
Finish, which is super cool. If I understand correctly, those finishes are actually derived from some custom shop things
Sure.
that you had done before, right? Some things you had shot in the custom shop.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of credit goes to our builders here in Woodstock, and over the past few years, really the last, I'd say year and a half, 2 years, we've come up with a bunch of new colors and stain options, and haunted moss was something that between our sales manager Taylor and a couple of our builders here came up with as a way to excite some of the dealers and get some new finishes out there, and it kind of just took off. And so I borrowed that for the Dimension, and the other color is the same as well. Super faded black, where we stain the whole instrument black, we let that dry, and then we actually sand it back so that the figuring in the wood really drinks in the stain, and then we sand off the top of it so that you have this kind of 3-dimensional actually kind of effect there. And when we're using stuff like poplar burl that has all this really cool unique figuring, it just makes for a really cool bass. So yeah.
Excellent. I think we've got a picture of the 4-string super faded black. Maybe we could put that up and check it out.
There it is. Yeah, so you see like all of that figuring, the stain gets in there and it kind of gets trapped in there. So when we sand the top of it off, you're just getting the surface level. So it's a really cool and unique way to highlight the natural beauty really of the wood, so all of them will look slightly different too, which is really cool. There will be no two that are alike because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, it's a very cool combination of classic Spector features, the NS body, of course, very famous, and then the modernistic elements with the finish, with the multi-scale, and of course with the Fishman Fluence bass soap bar pickups in the bass. John, if you don't mind, for people that might not be familiar with the Fluence and the functionality, please tell us about the controls on the bass and what some of the options are that people can explore with the Fluence sounds that are in there.
Yeah, sure. Well, when we developed the model, I mean, it was one of those things. Again, we're talking about we want to take a familiar shape and a familiar approach, and we want to do something new with it. And at the same time, Fishman had launched these really great pickups. We tried them in a couple of our custom shop models. We had tried them in a run of our Euro instruments as well. and the response was great. People really loved them, and I love them, and a lot of the designers here love them too. So when we developed the Dimension, we thought, well, we got to find a way to use these pickups, because really that's what we think is the best representation of kind of our vision here. So what's great about them, first of all, they're active, but they're not limiting you to just that active sound. So you get all the benefits of active electronics, meaning that they're completely noiseless. They have a lot of clarity. They're very responsive to your playing. Not only do you get that kind of classic active sound, but with the three-way voicing switch, you can make that pickup sound like a classic old Fender jazz bass or P bass. You could switch it in the middle and get that kind of scooped out, kind of hi-fi, funky sound, or you can go with the proprietary voicing, I believe, for the Fishman is just that kind of full frequency. Additionally, they have a really great active circuit on there too, so it's not that you just get three voices, you get full control of your EQ. So I mean, it's kind of the best of everything, right? And with an instrument like this that's going to allow players to access lower frequencies or explore different playing styles or want to connect to pedals or any kind of digital modeling, we find that they work really well for that.
No, that is super cool. And of course, one of the attributes of Fluence that I think really does make it a great fit for the NS Dimension is the clarity and the detail. Obviously, with extended range instruments, 5 strings, people tuning way down for heavier and more experimental types of music, capturing that transient and keeping that note really tight and really fast is incredibly important for that. And that is one of the cool attributes that Fluence has. They're very dynamic pickups, and they really will translate that attack very immediately and very cleanly. So super cool. And of course, in addition to all the sounds and all the features, there is a coil split setting as well. So in addition to everything that's there, you can also split the coils if you want and get sort of a single coil variation out of the instrument as well.
Right.
So tremendous amount of detail to be covered. And one of the pieces that we may want to check out, because I think he does a really great job with it, is there's a video by Ian Allison demonstrating the NS Dimension series and walking us through some of the sounds and capabilities. Let's take a minute and check that out. It's very cool.
My name is Ian Martin Allison, and I am so excited to show you this beast of a bass, brand new for 2021. It's Spector's NS Dimension multi-scale bass. Now, if you're checking out this video, you probably already know what a multi-scale bass is, but if you don't, let me just give you a brief description, okay? There's always been this issue with 5-string or even 6-string basses where sometimes if it's a 34-inch scale, which is the standard scale length, the B string seems a little floppy, right? And then if you increase the scale length, 35, 36, 37, what happens is the treble strings get kind of pingy, right? So there was this idea of like looking at how pianos were made. The low strings of a piano have a super long scale, whereas the top high strings on the high keys have a very short scale. So why not make an instrument that's multi-scale, meaning that from the G string, bridge to nut is the standard 34 inches, but the B string, bridge to nut, is 37 inches. Now, you heard me play this at the top of the video, but let me just show you something. I have a condenser microphone here that's picking up my voice. I'm not even gonna turn the bass on. I'm just gonna hit this B string for you. The B string is just intoxicating to play. The bass isn't even on. And I feel like we hear it. Now here it is. I love that Spector did this. They gave you a multi-scale bass, but they also gave you the classic Spector NS curved body design. How cool is that? So it's so familiar to Spector enthusiasts because it has that cool NS curve. Starting up here, we have die-cast tuners. We have a 5-piece maple and wenge neck. The fingerboard is also made of wenge, 24 frets, and then a beautiful chunk of poplar burl on the top. And this one right here is in one of 2 new colors for Spector. This is the super faded black gloss. Now, apart from it being Spector's first multi-scale, we have to talk about this electronics package. Spector chose to put in the Fishman Fluence system, the pickups, and the preamp EQ. Now, I'm told that if you crack open these pickups, you won't find wires, you'll find microchips. It's essentially like 2 little computers in your bass, right? And the clarity of this instrument for doing things like tapping, playing with a pick, slapping, is just amazing. There is all this dynamic range. You hear that high end? And everything is just so clean. Or digging in. All right, let me take you through these controls. Let's start with this switch. In position 1, which is flipped all the way up, Fishman calls this like the passive mode. This is supposed to be sort of like the warm, vintage style bass sound. Right? Now, if you flip all the way out to position 2, this is like the full range active mode. And I love that setting. Now, if you go here in the middle to position 3, this is sort of like the scooped slap tone, mid-range dip smiley face EQ thing. Take you through the sound of these pickups. So I've been playing with everything just blended straight in the middle. Here's the neck pickup. Bridge pickup. And then what you can do with this too is pull the volume knob and it turns the humbuckers into single coils. So here it is in the middle. Here it is blended to the front, the neck pickup. And here it is in the bridge. The Fluence system also has a super simple 2-band EQ with a treble knob that actually at its highest setting isn't super clacky and noisy at all. In fact, the whole system is completely noise-free. But even with the treble knob totally dimed, reminds me of sort of like the top end of a stingray. It makes me want to play all these percussive techniques, right? I mean, that's who I honestly think this instrument is for. It's for people that want to do maybe extended techniques or just have a super bright modern sound, either in like a metal context, progressive rock context, or maybe even a gospel context. And there you have it. Brand new for 2021, the Spector NS Dimension, the first multi-scale offering by Spector. They're giving you that NS body shape, right? They're giving you the multi-scale. They're giving you the Fishman Fluence. It's an incredible offering. And if you're the kind of bass player that needs that clarity, that giant B string, I just want to play the B string all day long. If you need a B string that sounds like that and you want that incredible clarity of an instrument like this, you got to check it out.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to buy one now. Wow. That was a great demo by Ian.
Yeah, that is killer. He's obviously a fantastic player, and he did a great job running through all the sounds and capabilities, which is fantastic. So, John, in addition, we've got Ish Guitars writing in.
Yeah, see a lot of stuff going on in the comments.
Let's take a moment and grab some questions. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So far, everyone really likes the bass, so that's great.
That's excellent.
And any chance for pickups for a 6-string soon? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Discovered the NS Dimension. All right, cool. Yeah, someone was asking about the strings, and that's an important thing. We have our own proprietary strings that we're going to debut later this year. But for now, if you have one of these basses, go ahead and get yourself some of the DR extra long scale, because you need that 40-inch on the B string to really sit right. So that's what we recommend for now. And everyone else looks like they're just enjoying the show. So let's get on with it. Oh, here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Question about pickups. Maybe Rob, you can chip in on this one. What's the average battery life, given that they use?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it with two pickups plus the 2-band EQ that you've got in there, you can get about 60 hours of plugged-in playing time out of a single battery. So, if you have gigs lasting longer than 60 hours, you need to get a new agency. But good long time on that for sure. For the battery life, those will be good and strong. Very, very cool stuff. Really appreciate the questions and the comments. People are very kind. People are here showing how excited they are about Spector basses, and obviously a few people have already been excited about the NS Dimension series and ordered some for themselves, yes, which is great.
Yep, keep the questions coming, and I just want to say hi to my friends. Looks like Anton's here and Rod Harder, my good buddy. So
awesome.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Awesome, Calvin. Very cool. Excellent. Well, John, in addition to the NS Dimension series, I know that the Spector USA Custom Shop, where you're building these amazing creations, that you've also started integrating Fishman Fluence soap bar bass pickups into many of the instrument designs there, and it's an option for the customers in the custom shop. Could you tell us a little bit about the custom shop, the history, the process, and some of the things people could experience if they want to go all the way and grab a Custom Shop USA instrument?
Absolutely, yeah. We're here in the Woodstock, New York region, which are about 2.5 hours north of New York City.
Right.
Spector's had a home in this area for about 30 years now. The brand was started in Brooklyn, New York in the 70s by Stuart Spector himself and Ned Steinberger of the NS,
Mm-hmm.
fame. Him and Stuart designed the very first, Spector NS bass. And then it took off from there. A lot of things happened in those early years and throughout the 80s. But when Stuart kind of wanted to restart the brand, so to speak. He wanted to do it at a very high level, and relocated to the Woodstock region and opened a very small workshop up here. And that's where we've been for the past 30 years, where we're doing everything one at a time by hand. Everything is built to order. And this is really where we get experimental. This is where we try out new ideas. As we mentioned, some of the finishes and the options before. So this is the place where you can come if you're a fan of Spector, or if you're just looking for a high quality instrument that you want to be really involved in the building process. That's what we do here. So, you can choose your woods, you can choose your scale lengths, you can choose your string spacing, type of hardware. We'll collaborate with you on finishes and thoughts about electronics. So this is really the boutique, hands-on custom shop that exists for Spector, which is great. And we sell them through. I see someone here saying, "How do I get to order a bass?" Well,
Yeah.
we have a small handful of premier dealers all around the world. Many here in the United States. And if you go to spectorbass.com, you can locate those dealers, and we work directly with all those dealers to help make sure our customers and our players are getting exactly what they want. So anyway, when it came time to start, like I said, exploring different options, and the Fishman Fluence was released for bass, we said, well, we got to try some of these. So we started offering them in some of our instruments as an option, and we also elected to include them in some of our showpieces for the annual NAMM shows, or for any opportunity where we get to build a stock instrument. We'll put some Fishmans in there, and that leads us to today, where it's it's a pretty popular option. We're keeping a lot of Fishman pickups on the shelf for our builds.
It's good to hear. John, you were kind enough to send, speaking of custom shop basses, you sent some great video footage of one of your dealers, Ish Guitars, and they've got a little video piece showcasing just a few of the creations out of the custom shop that feature Fluence. Why don't we take a look at that video and get a chance to see and hear these instruments, and then we can come back. You can tell us what the features are and what's going on.
Yeah, let's do it.
Here today, I'm just going to show you a couple of my favorite positions on this bass, show you the clarity of the low B, and that's about it.
Beautiful.
Ready?
Let's go.
Okay, so first, low B clarity. So what I'm going to do, we've got our dark glass head and cab over there. I'm setting the bass all flat, both pickups, the whole thing. And then I'm going to go to the hi-fi setting on the Fishman Fluence system. So you'll see. Like, man, all those notes.
Super articulate. Super articulate on a low B.
Yeah. You can hear every note, every harmonic. It sounds awesome. Using that hi-fi setting especially, you get that nice snap in it. The maples and and this stuff on the back, the redwood is giving you the warmth, but then you're getting the articulation from the ebony, from the pale moon ebony, the swamp ash, and the Zircody top.
You really hear it's oddly so much low end and high end, and it doesn't sound like it's fighting each other.
And it sounds great, and it's also not so scooped that you miss out on the mids or anything. It really nails it. Another one of my favorite positions on this bass, going a totally different direction, is actually with
Look
a
at
pick.
This is rare.
I know everyone's been yelling at me for not using a pick, but if you go to the vintage passive setting on this bass and use a pick, it is drastically different than what I just played. Now watch what happens too if I go to just the neck pickup. So this is like P bass for days type of thing, right? It's great.
That's great.
It's got that nice, and like I dug in a little bit there at the end, like nice dynamics and stuff, like friggin' shreds. In a studio.
Oh, yeah, that's all you bring.
Yeah,
You're good.
it's great.
You're happy
super,
camper.
super different. And then in the center, just as your kind of general position, this is so the center position of the switch is like normal.
Yeah.
It's not passive, it's active. It's a
But-
relatively flat EQ. It's not like a super funky EQ. But if we play around just with some finger style. So you get like all those normal sounds
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
For the people that don't want to shred the low end in
Right.
some gent, that don't want to go, shredding with a pick or whatever, it really just covers everything.
Wow.
Another great demo video.
Good demo video, and a couple of gorgeous basses. Obviously, we'll grab some questions here. Christopher's got a question. John, I don't know if you can answer that or not, or if he might need to reach out to the dealer, but he's asking about the price of the bass.
Sure. Well, if we're talking about the Dimension bases earlier, those start at $19.99.
Wow, good deal.
But those bases that you just saw are exclusive to Ish Guitars in Syracuse, New York. And if you go to ish.guitars or go to their social media or whatever, you will find their website and you can find the pricing there. I don't want to say the wrong number. So
yeah, those
talk to the
are
experts.
those are gorgeous instruments. Of course, with the two basses that were featured, one is also the famous NS body design, right, with the curve and the contour. Both 5-string, both a gorgeous combination of woods. Tell me about the second instrument in the video. I'm not familiar with that particular model name. The sort of offset.
Sure. That's got a pretty interesting history. That shape. That's what we call our NSX base.
Oh, okay, X. Perfect.
And those were made, a small batch of them were made in the late '80s for Nicky Six. I believe it was, maybe Dr. Feelgood or one of those later Motley Crue records, and they were going on tour. Nicky had a couple Spectors, and he wanted something that was a little bit more rock and roll offset, as you said. So Stuart built them a few of those, and then that was it for a very, very long time. And then we reintroduced that model as an option here in the custom shop, where we make only a handful of them every year. It's just kind of a fun, homage to one of our big artists from back in the day. But it's a great looking bass. I mean, it's very different than an NS, but it's still neck through. It still has some very interesting curves and contours, and really great bass. And if you want to rock, that is really the bass.
That's
you
it.
need to get.
That's it. That's the one to pick for sure. Those bases, of course, are full of beautiful details. I was admiring the fingerboard wood, which I think is a pale moon ebony. Very, very beautiful.
Yes.
What is the inlay on those fingerboards? Because they're gorgeous as well. I was trying to figure out what the material was. Yeah, right there.
That's black mother of pearl. So
okay.
it's just a different, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I believe it's the same species, same source material, but that's just got some black in it. We take that from, we work with a really great supplier down in Texas who gets us all of our shell material and all of our mother of pearl and abalone, and that's what we call black mother of pearl. And I got to give a lot of credit to Jesse over at Ish Guitars for this particular one that we're looking at, because he really pushed us out of our comfort zone in using pale moon ebony and using those Zerakote tops, doing a 3-piece body. These are things that we hadn't really done yet, and I think the results are pretty stunning.
Well, they certainly are, and it, as you mentioned, it's a cool thing because it's a very rock and roll body shape, and then combined with all the beautiful natural woods and the boutique elements of the custom shop bass. It's a cool combination for sure.
Totally.
Another great looking and sounding bass. And those, of course, are just a couple of examples of what the custom shop is capable of. I'm sure if people check out your Spector page, they can see a ton of images and all kinds of other instruments and finishes and things that are possible.
Oh yeah. SpectorBass.com, and of course through our social media channels, you'll see a lot of really nice. No two are really alike, even if we make two with the same color. So much of what we do up here is determined by the materials. So if we're using something like Ziracote, the grain in that wood is super unique to every piece. And same thing with quilted maple, same thing with flame maple, same thing with Buckeye burl.
Yeah.
So each bass that we build up here is really its own unique work of art. And but yeah, check out the website and you can get a really good idea of what we do up here. If you're the type that really wants to get hands-on and build an heirloom, style instrument, we can do that for you.
No, absolutely fantastic, and we'll leave the line open for another minute or so if anybody has any additional questions on the custom shop. I think John, if I'm correct, you're actually broadcasting from the custom shop today.
That's true. Yes.
Right on.
I'm here in the only quiet part of the shop. I'm up here in the office, but right down below, we are hard at work making a bunch of really cool stuff.
Oh, super cool. Excellent stuff. Well, the NS Dimension, fantastic new launch, custom shop, beautiful works of art, kind of, the sky is the limit, whatever you can imagine, best of the best options for people. We just had a question come in from Calvin, asking about the string. It might be the string spacing. Can you adjust the string width at the bridge?
Not an adjustment you can make on your own, but at the USA shop we do have a few different options. Especially with the 5 strings. If you want to have our string spacing is a little bit narrower than some of the other bass builders out there.
Okay.
So we have 2 different options for you, which is basically
Nice.
16 millimeter or 18 millimeter. So we would call that a wide 5. But you'd have to order your bass that way in order for that to be a thing. But yeah, we can accommodate that.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. It's great that you've got the option, but obviously side-to-side string spacing is something you'd want to have rock solid in your instrument. So moving saddles side to side, it would be tough to control them. So it's great. It's great to hear that you've got the options and that they're locked in and doing their thing. We are getting towards the end of our live stream. But before we signed off, and once again, thank you to everyone that's written in with questions or nice comments. You're welcome, Calvin. We really appreciate it. It makes it a lot of fun. Guys, if you are Spector bass enthusiasts, we have the guy on with us in John. So please fire those questions away. Happy to help with those. And before we signed off today, John, I wanted to just chat briefly about a mutual Spector and Fishman artist that we share, and that's Rudy Sarzo. Rudy, of course, is the bass legend from Quiet Riot and Ozzy Osbourne, and presently of the Guess Who, and many other professional gigs. John, if you don't mind, could you tell us the story about how Rudy connected with Spector and started using the instruments, which I know he's very excited about at this point.
Sure.
I know he loves the basses.
He's
such an energized and positive guy anyway. But how did he get connected with you guys?
Yeah, sure. So there's actually two great stories with Rudy, and first, just want to say, I mean, it's an honor, to work with a guy like that. I know you guys feel the same way at Fishman.
Absolutely.
Never thought when you were a young kid that you'd be able to text Rudy Sarzo in the holidays, and it's just really cool. Anyway, so Rudy had a gig with Jeff Tate of Queensryche fame, and if any Spector aficionados know out there that all of those legendary Queensryche bass lines are all Spectors. So if you get the gig with Jeff Tate, you have to get a Spector. It's non-negotiable. So
Nice.
that's really where we started our relationship with Rudy. He needed a Spector for that gig, and we got him one of our Euro 4 models, and he really took to it. Obviously a guy that's been around for that long, has played a lot of instruments, but there was something about the Spector shape and the tone that he just really fell in love with, and that was several years ago now. And then the second really iteration of the great kind of Rudy story is that at a NAMM show, the most recent NAMM show in 2020, Rudy had already had many Spectors and a signature model with us and all that stuff. And at the same time, started talking to your folks over there at Fishman. And there was a bass that we built for the NAMM show that there was a miscommunication, and we put the wrong pickups in it, and it had Fishman Fluence pickups. And I said to Rob, I said, hey, just put this up in your booth. It's a really cool bass, and you guys will be able to at least show off the pickups and how they sound. Just so happens that Rudy picked up that bass at your booth that weekend and fell in love with it. And now that leads us to, on the precipice of announcing the next Rudy Sarzo signature model, which is basically that accidental bass, custom built for Rudy with the Fishman Fluence system in it. And, you mentioned his heritage and his gigs and the things that he constantly is doing. And he feels that the Spector shape, playability, and sound, paired with the versatility and the reliability of the Fishman, is like the ultimate bass for him. No matter what he's going to do, whether he's going to play tracks from Blizzard of Oz or if he's going to play Guess Who songs or whatever.
Sure.
So that's a huge thrill for us to be working with Rudy, and as I'm sure it is for you guys too. So.
No, absolutely, and it's Rudy has shared with both of us that versatility, with him being such a journeyman musician, right? Being so comfortable in so many styles of music and so many settings, that from that classic active Spector sound for the Jeff Tate Queensryche material, of course playing in more of a classic rock band like the Guess Who, he relies more on the passive sounds that are also in the Fluence. So he was, I know he's excited that he can use one instrument and work across all these settings. And of course, his optimism and energy and passion for music, considering his incredible resume, I know we're all very inspired by that. He is, so far from being over it. He's as thrilled about music as a person can be, and it's fantastic to see him continuing to push himself forward, even with all the tremendous accomplishments that he's achieved. So it's very, very cool in that way. Ken, if we could put up the image of the red bass that Rudy fell in love with and has since made into his own instrument. John, I would appreciate it. I know, of course, it's got the Fishman Fluence system in it with the electronics that we've reviewed before. Could you tell us what other aspects about this particular bass are unique? I know, as you mentioned, this was going to be a bass that was going to have some different features and details going forward in it. I wonder if there's anything you could share about what's in there beyond the electronics.
Sure. So a big thing for Rudy was he wanted something that was lightweight, and I think as a lot of us, as we get on in years and you want to still play your instrument, you want to save your shoulder. So, we make a neck through instrument and that's not always the easiest thing to do, is to make them lightweight. So what we're doing with his model is we borrowed from our LT series, and we weight relieved the wings. Additionally, we're using a different backing wood on that instrument. So you have a flame maple top there, but the backing wood is a species called Empress wood, or Halloweenia. It's I guess scientific name, and that's a very fast growing, sustainably harvested tree. That's extremely lightweight and it sounds great. It's kind of like a cousin of swamp ash if you really look at it, the grain pattern and all that. So that combined with the weight relief and a lightweight bridge gave Rudy the performance he was really looking for. He had the sound always, but now he's got the performance that he's looking for. We've got an ebony fingerboard on there. We've got the Godo lightweight GB350 tuners on there. Mother of pearl inlays. So it's just totally hooked up, and with the intention of providing Rudy with a lightweight instrument that can do everything he needs it to do.
Awesome. Well, that is a killer, and we'll certainly invite everyone to stay tuned and check back frequently with the Spector website and Spector social media as that instrument gets closer to release and development. I'm sure there'll be lots of noise made about it, but a super cool story and a very 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 interesting bass. Ton of details in there for sure that I think will be a very nice addition to the Spector collection when that one happens. But we are getting very close to wrapping up here. I did once again want to thank everyone that has written in so far with the great questions. Thank you also to everyone with their nice comments. It's greatly appreciated. We appreciate you watching and checking it out and participating. And with no further questions at this point, we are going to sign off. This is the Fishman Partnership Series. We've been here with Mr. John Stippell, Global Brand Manager of Spector Bass. John, thanks a million for joining us. I learned a lot, as I always do, about Spector basses, and really appreciate you coming on with us. Thanks very much.
Of course, it was my pleasure, Rob. It's always great to catch up with you and to talk about all the great stuff that we both have going on at our companies here. And it's a real pleasure and an honor to work with your friends. So I really appreciate the invite, and happy to come back anytime.
You bet. Well, we'll do it again very soon. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. This has been the Fishman Partnership Series with Spector Bass today. Check us